Welcome back to the guide, Exile. In this video we're going to be covering the following topics. Now for trade in Path of Exile. Of course, trade chat exists, but I'd not recommend using it. It is full of spam and very hard to understand. The easiest way to purchase items is unfortunately to use another third-party site, also known as PoE Trade. Here, you can browse for any item that we'd like in a straightforward way. Say that we want a pair of armor gloves with some resistances and life on them. We can simply set the base type to gloves, type in 1 for a minimum armor value and 0 for max evasion and shield, scroll down to the mods and select plus to maximum life. Then we can go ahead and add another mod, and then go ahead and select pseudo to total elemental resistances. The pseudo total will find all items with any elemental resistances that at least add up to the minimum. This applies to any other pseudo mod. This will then show all of the available gloves for sale with those desired stats. Of course, we can tighten up the search by putting in more strict minimum life and resistance values. To purchase an item, we simply click the whisper text, which copies a generic buy request for our item into our clipboard. We can now switch back into Path of Exile, paste the whisper into the chat, and hit enter to request the purchase. Of course, since the system is non-automated like an auction house, the seller must be online, not away from his keyboard, or willing to sell the item. The trade API for Path of Exile is not perfect, and some accounts for listed items are not online, or are AFK, resulting in having to wait or find a new item. Now, to sell items, it is very easy if you have premium stash tabs, not so easy if you do not. I will just describe how to sell items with premium tabs, as selling otherwise requires a lot more investment and understanding of how the items are indexed. Once you have a premium tab, you can right-click the tab and set it to be public. This will allow the Path of Exile Trade API to show any items in this tab to indexers, such as PoE Trade. You can then set the tab to have a buyout price for all items that are placed inside of it, or set each item to be priced. If you set individual pricing, then you will have to right-click the item and set the desired price and currency type. To find prices for items that you have if you are unsure, you can make use of PoE Trade again to get a price reference on similar items. Searching for uniques is easy, as you can simply browse the name of the unique and find the common price. Other items you will have to browse for items that are similar to yours by entering stats similar to yours into the search feature. You can also press Ctrl-C over your item in the game and then import the data into PoE Trade using the import item data to get an exact search of your item setup. You will, however, have to clean up the modifiers to be less strict so that other items can be found, as no two items in Path of Exile are really identical unless they are mirrors or uniques. Any of you that are savvy with auto hotkey can also get the PoE Trade macro script that allows you to quickly check prices of uniques and perform custom item searches from within the game screen. That script can be found at the following link. So for the recipe system, it allows players to sell items to any vendor in exchange for a variety of currencies or items. Here's a list of some good recipes for orbs. I always joke with my friends that it's really Path of Chromatics, as I always snipe all of the chromatic orb recipes off of the ground from them. The Jeweler's Orb recipe is great because you're always getting 6-socketed items you don't need, and getting back 7 Jeweler's Orbs is basically 2 fusings, as fusings are 4 Jeweler's Orbs at the vendor. Gemcutter's Prisms are pretty easy to get, as most of the time you're finding a lot of superior gems at low qualities or around 10% that you don't want, so you can just store them up in single slots in your stash and sell them when you have about 40% of all of them. Now, Chaos Orbs can also be generated by trading a full set of rare gear to a vendor. A full set includes the following. Now, you will receive 1 Chaos Orb if any gear piece is identified and their item levels are between levels 60 and 74. And you will receive 2 Chaos Orbs if all pieces are unidentified and item levels are between 60 and 74. Now, as long as all of the item levels are above level 60, and at least one of the item levels is in the range of 60 to 74, Chaos Orbs will be generated. This recipe is sort of controversial between certain players, as it does require a lot of stash space and investment on picking up items, whereas most players would rather just go through the game faster and get items as drops rather than saving them to trade for chaos. However, I find it very useful in the beginning of the league, or possibly if you're playing solo self-found, where you really want to be able to generate your own currency base and not have to worry about trading and selling. Now here are some crafting recipes that are used frequently. Life and mana flasks of the next tier can be created by using 3 of the previous tier at a vendor. Weapon with percentage increased physical damage can be made by using a weapon base, again normal magic or rare, a magic or rare rustic sash belt, and a blacksmith whetstone. These recipes are pretty invaluable when leveling up a character in a new league, or if you have no backing currency or unique items to level with. Now here are some skill gem recipes that can be very useful if you accidentally level up a skill gem or no longer have the attributes required to use it. You can decrease the level of a gem by trading the gem and 1 orb of scouring. You can decrease the level of a gem all the way to 1 by trading the gem and 1 orb of regret. And you can get a 20% quality gem by trading a level 20 gem and 1 gem cutter's prism. This is the most efficient way to get a 20% quality gem, and why most people will level up extra gems in their weapon swap. Here are some simple shortcuts that will make your life in Path of Exile a lot easier. Holding Alt over an item will display its item level. Control left-clicking an item while you have a trade, crafting, or stash interface up will immediately transfer the item to the interface, or vice versa. When done with currency, it will transfer the maximum stack size of that currency per left control click. Shift left-clicking a stacked item will allow you to split the stack into 2 smaller stacks. This cannot be performed while a trade interface is up. Control left-clicking a zone entrance or waypoint will bring up the zone and manager interface, allowing you to select the zone you wish to enter or to create a new one. Control left-clicking a passive point will immediately allocate it. Holding Control Alt and left-clicking on an item will link it in the chat. Pressing Control C while hovering over an item will copy all of its data into your clipboard, allowing you to paste it into sites such as PoE Trade, Weapon DPS Calculator, or chats outside of Path of Exile. Holding Shift after a currency item is right-clicked will allow you to use the currency item numerous times. And finally, Control Enter will respond to the last person you made a whisper to or that made a whisper to you. Well, that just about covers everything I wanted to talk about. If you were on the fence in starting Path of Exile but were unsure of how to continue, I hope that this guide series has shed some light on how to get started and advance your character. If you have tried Path of Exile before, but stopped playing for one reason or another, I would definitely say give it another shot. The game really picks up as you get further into it. Give it a fair shot through all the difficulties, maybe on a few different character builds, as it really takes getting the build fleshed out before you realize its power. Again, there are many topics I did not discuss in full, which I hope to make more in-depth guides for. But there are many other resources and people who have created game guides for Path of Exile and build guides alike. I've gone ahead and linked some YouTube channels that have some great content in the description. I hope you all enjoyed. Again, my name is Brian, and I will be happy to answer any questions you may have.